For most of this year, 2025, I've been enjoying my Audio Icon 12s, which are absolutely unreal in how they sound. Paired with the Devialet Astra, honestly guys, I've never heard a finer audio system, regardless of price. Well, until now, that is. Hold on to that thought. I'll talk a little bit more about this within this review. Let's get started with the Marten loudspeakers from Sweden, the Parker Duos. Welcome back, everyone. So for the past few weeks, I've been listening to the speakers that you see right behind me. These are in the high-end realm. They are from Sweden, from the brand Marten. These are the Parker Duos, and these are the brand's flagship stand mount speakers. Now, these are in the high-end realm. The speakers come in at around $15,000. I believe the stands are somewhere in the $3,000 to $3,500 mark. I'll talk about both the speakers and the stands in this review. So it was months ago that I was asked if I would like to check out and possibly review the Marten Parker Duos from unveiledaudio.com. Now, Jonathan over there asked me if I wanted to check out some Marten speakers. He really likes them. I said sure. It was many weeks later that these piano gloss black models arrived to my doorstep. They arrived via freight on a truck, got them into the house. The box that the speakers ship in is not too big and not too crazy heavy. The box that the stands ship in is pretty big and pretty dang heavy. But when they arrived, I put them back here and I unboxed them. And unboxing the speakers was super easy. So each speaker comes in its own nice cloth bag. You pull those out, unwrap them, and instant beauty is right there in front of you. Going to the stands, I open those up, and they're very heavy, but very easy to put together. It's a matter of putting on the steel plate on the top of the stand, screwing in the feet, and the hard or the tricky part is attaching the speakers to that base plate because they screw in from the bottom. Laying down underneath, my vision up close is not the greatest. I didn't have my readers around, but I was able to bolt in the speakers to the stand, and this way they will not accidentally ever be pushed off. Say you have them in a living room and you have kids or a pet that could bump into that stand. These speakers are not going to fall from the stand because they are physically bolted and attached to the stand. So before we get into the listening experience, experiencing these speakers with a variety of amplifiers, let's talk about the specs. So with these Marten Parker Duos, they have a tweeter, a 1-inch tweeter, a 7.5-inch mid-range and bass driver, and on the back, you'll see a 9-inch passive radiator, which helps to really make these excel in the bass area. These are absolutely incredible with the bass. So the bass goes low down to 36 hertz. These speakers are 88 dB efficient. They come in at 6 ohms, so you're not going to want a little wimpy amp to power them. They do respond to very powerful amps very well. And there is something I want to talk about in this review in regards to amplifiers for this speaker. Now, these custom ceramic drivers were designed specifically for Marten for these speakers. Each speaker also uses a very powerful neodymium magnet for total and utmost control of said speakers. Now, these are ceramic drivers, so you have a ceramic tweeter here and you have a ceramic mid-bass and bass driver. Marten does sell an upgraded version called the Diamond Edition, which uses a real diamond tweeter and has some upgraded parts on the inside, but the cost, I think, is close, if not actually double the price. So I'm talking about the standard versions here with the ceramic drivers. Now on the back, there's a 9-inch or so passive radiator, and this is what makes these speakers so magical and so special. As far as bass reproduction, they meet or exceed my big mighty Icon 12s that cost more money and are a heck of a lot bigger. These put out deep, solid, clean, fast, tight bass. The bass is so refined, but so good. It's not putting out that bloat that we get a lot of speakers, usually in the cheaper realm. You get a lot of bloat to give you that artificial sensation that there's a lot of bass. These do not do bloat. These do not have a lot of overhang or any overhang. These are fast as lightning, but you will get stunned at times when there's a deep bass moment in a track. It just comes out of nowhere and pressurizes the room like almost like a subwoofer does at times. I couldn't believe it how amazing these were in the bass. I don't know if it was just the perfect size room that I have them in here, 13 by 18, or if it was the amplifier I was using that really brought out the best of them. And that's something I do want to talk about. Now, I tried running these with a variety of amplifiers. I tried tubes with a Fez Evo Titania KT88 integrated amp that puts out about 45 watts per channel. I tried these with the Devialet Astra, which puts out 300 watts per channel into 4 ohms, 150 into 8 ohms, so it's probably pushing close to 200 watts into these 6 ohm speakers. I also tried these with the Gallione P75 all-new tubed preamp with their A75 stereo solid-state power amp. Finally, I tried these with the Modrite LS99 tubed preamp and their set of monoblocks that are heavily biased in the Class A, the KWA 99s. So let's just get this out of the way up front. Amplifiers matter with these speakers. I've never heard such a changing sound, such a dramatic change in sound from amplifier to amplifier. I'll get it out of the way right now. The absolute best amplifier pairing with these that brought out the most from the speakers in regards to bass, mid-range purity, treble extension, three-dimensionality, a huge soundstage is easily, without question, the Devialet Astra. Now, the Astra is a pricey integrated amplifier. It has a DAC, a streamer, has everything, a phono stage, best phono stage I've ever heard. The power section here is incredible, and it takes total control of the Marten Parkers and drives them to perfection. Next up is the Modrite LS99 and KWA 99 mono amps. These are separate, so you have an amp for the left speaker, an amp for the right speaker. These amps put out 100 watts per channel, and the tube preamp is really, really nice. These for me came in second place with the Parker Duos. Just a little less refined and dynamic than the Astra. These added a little more coloration in the mid-range and made it a little plumper, where the Astra was just punchy, organic, a little bit of warmth, but lightning fast. So moving on to the next is the Gallione P75 and A75 amp. Now this pairing sounds way better than you think it would for what it costs, I should say. These are kind of pieces that really, really sound better than they cost. I was trying to think of the wording. These are kind of, Thomas said when his A75 amp came out, it was a giant killer and it was taking on amps that cost more and more money. I believe that's true. That amp is a giant killer, and his new preamp is also pretty awesome. These were kind of tied with the Modrite. It just brought a little bit less oomph in the mids, still had amazing fast bass, and the treble extension was just a little smoother than the Modrite and the Astra. Overall, very musical, very nice in sound. Going to that Fez Evo Titania integrated amp, it only puts out 45 watts per channel, and when I hooked it up to the Marten Parker Duos, I could easily tell they were craving more current and more power. Now, this is an amp that sounds beautifully transparent. I think it sounds amazing with acoustic instruments and the like, but it was a little thin sounding with the Marten Parker Duos, mostly because it just doesn't have enough power to drive these speakers. So I went ahead and I did all of my evaluation and listening with the Devialet Astra, because this is what made these sound so freaking good. Now, I've heard the Borison M1s not so long ago, the $100,000 bookshelf speakers. Those were a speaker that I've been wanting to hear for a long time. When these Martens came in, I made it a goal to get out and go listen to a pair of these, and I did. And you know what? They were beautiful speakers in looks, in design, and the refinement in sound was beautiful. The bass from those was a little bit richer and plumper than, say, the Marten Parkers in the mid-range. But overall, the interesting thing is, I like the sound of my system here at home with the Marten Parker Duos better than I liked those M1s at a dealer in that dealer's showroom. I don't know if it's the room, because we all know the room makes a huge difference in what your system will sound like. I also heard the B&W 805 D4s just recently because I wanted to go and listen to as many little two-ways or small stand mount speakers, smallish, as I could while I had these Martens. To me, the B&W 805 D4s were really, really nice, but again, I preferred the Marten Parker Duos. The thing that the Parker Duos are doing is they have a little bit of organic flair. They have a little bit of warmth, just a little bit, but they remain supremely transparent, meaning sounds that are hidden on other speakers or in the background, they kind of are more in the forefront with the Marten Parker Duos. They don't let any detail escape, but yet at the same time, they're not grating or etched or analytical. They're providing this organic, refined sound from top to bottom. And because the bass is so good and the mid-range is so pure, I've never heard a stand mount two-way speaker sound anything like the Parker Duos are sounding in this room. Now, compared to my big Icon 12s that I believe are close to $24,000 these days, I love the Icon 12s. They are my favorite speakers of all time that I've heard so far in this audio lifetime. And I've had them here since, the beginning of the year or so, and they just sound absolutely remarkable in all ways with all music. I never thought in a million years a little two-way on a stand could not only come close, but actually best it in a couple of areas. Where do the Marten Parker Duos best my Icon 12s? Well, they best them in transparency. The Audio Icon 12s are a little bit warmer, and they're not as supremely transparent as the Martens. The Martens also have a little bit more treble extension than the Icons do. The Icons are more about smooth, richness, musicality, a beautiful, beautiful wide sound stage that also has transparency. But in the area of transparency and treble detail, the Marten Parker Duo wins. Mid-range, I prefer my Icon 12s. They're a little bit more juicy, a little bit more full-bodied, but they're not as all-out clear in the vocals and with some instruments as the Parker Duos. In regards to bass, the Icon 12s have bass, as much bass as you could want in this size of a room. They can slam you through the door. They can play well at low volume. They play well at high volume. But what about the Marten Parker Duo's bass? It's equally as impressive, if not a little cleaner and a little tighter. But it's just as explosive when that bass hits from the recording. Now, these stands for the Parker Duos also have feet, and they look a lot like Isoacoustics feet, but these are in collaboration between Marten and Isoacoustics. They both collaborated and came out with the feet for these, and I am a big believer in these kind of feet. I own Isoacoustics feet for a couple of my other speakers that I have, and I do notice the difference when I remove them and put them back in. So having these vibration isolators, so to speak, really help with that all-out refinement of the Parker Duo, and they do come with the stands. In fact, if I were buying a set of Marten Parker Duos, I would not buy them without the stands from Marten. Stands are important. Not only the height of the stand can really change the sound, but the material, the workmanship, the solidity of the stand can help with those vibrations, or I should say eliminate vibrations, bringing a more refined sound. So Marten does it really well here with not only a really heavy solid stand where the speaker bolts onto it, but we have those Marten / Isoacoustics feet to help finish everything off, almost like the cherry on top of the sundae. So these are world-class end game type of speakers you buy for life, speakers that you will have high pride of ownership with. Made in Sweden. The detail here of the build, of the design is beautiful as all get out. Now, the piano black does collect fingerprints, so if you're moving your speakers around a lot, I would suggest a matte finish variety. If it were me, I'd probably go the matte walnut for this space. But the piano black looks really, really stunning, really classy. And with the way they do the metal grills attached to the front and the back, it just ties everything together, and they kind of look like little works of art. They're very hefty, they're very solid, very well made, all top parts quality here from Marten. So yeah, some people will say that's too expensive for a two-way speaker, but what are you getting back out of it here? I've heard speakers that cost double these and don't sound as good as the Parker Duos. So the Marten Parker Duos, without question, are my favorite stand-mounted speakers of all time. They're kind of more similar than different from my Icon 12s. They're like a smaller little version that kind of delivers a similar vibe, but my Icon 12s are just a little juicier, a little warmer in that mid-range, and a little smoother, where the Martens just bring you everything that's within a recording, but they do it in a way that's also musical. They give you a little bit of color in the mid-range, and everything just seems right with the world. Like I said, the amplifier is important with the Marten speakers. They really desire high quality current, high quality watts, and also high quality associated gear. So whether you're playing vinyl, that would be a turntable and a phono stage. If you're streaming or serving music, that would be your streamer and DAC. All in all, these are fantastic speakers. One of the best products I've ever reviewed here on this channel. I hope you enjoy it. I'll have links in the description below to Unveiled Audio, to Marten, and as always, I was not paid 1 penny for this review. All this time listening, unpacking, writing the written review, which is over at my website. I think it's 5,000 words. So no, I was not paid for this review. These words are my own. My thoughts are honest, and these are my true feelings. If you like this video, thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you are notified when new videos are released. I love you all. I thank you all. I will see you in the next one.